In this video, I'm going to show examples of two-phase signals. These two-phase signals could be because we have permissive left turns, which is going to be the first one we're going to cover. They can be at rural locations. It can be locations where there may be right-of-way constraints. It can be locations where there's low volume. It can be locations where there's high volumes and high speeds. Alternative intersections often use two-phase signals. They're very efficient, very effective, and it's a way that traffic engineers are able to provide for the left turns in a more efficient and safe manner than we can with traditional interchange designs. And so you'll see two-phase signals used a lot in those alternative designs. And I'll cover three different examples of these two-phase signals. We're going to start here, and I'll provide the links in the description if you want to go and look at these specific intersections. This is in a downtown, small downtown setting. And one of the ways we know this is going to be a two-phase signal is just looking at the lane configuration. So we're going to see on each approach, we only have one lane. And when you have one lane, it's very common that we're going to have a two-phase signal because we don't have the separate left turn lanes that we can protect. Basically, all the movements need to go. And so what you're going to expect in these kind of situations is we're going to have the side street would be one phase, and then the main street would be another phase. So these two will go together in one phase, and these two will go together in one phase. So it's just a two-phase signal. We're switching back and forth between both of those. So we're going to get in on the street view next and take a look and see at the signal heads and look at the configuration from this perspective as well. So this is, again, we're looking in now on the street view side of things. We see here we've got all these single lane approaches. As we spin around here in the intersection, let me look up here at the signal heads as well. And here's the last one. And so looking at the single lane approaches, looking at each signal head, there's no provision for adding a protected left turn phase at any of these signals. We know this is going to be a two-phase signal. So if I was trying to figure out what's going on, I would start at that overhead view, look at lane configuration, then get to the street view and see what do those signal heads look like. And I would assume that this would be operating as a two-phase signal. It's always best to go in the field and see this in person. Hopefully you get a chance to do that if you're working with an intersection. But if you don't, this is a good first step desktop review for that. Another place you may see a two-phase signal is at an alternative design. This is a DDI, certainly not low volume. We have a lot of lanes here. We've got up to 6-lane type of configuration, but this is going to be a two-phase signal when we look at this crossover point here in the middle of this DDI. And we just have two options here, and it's very simple and it's very efficient for these DDIs. We've got this movement that's crossing over this direction and this movement that's crossing over this direction. There's only two movements at this phase. They're both throughs. There's no turns at this signal, right turns or left turns. And so we know it's going to be a two-phase signal. There's only two options for movement at this signalized location. So when we switch over to the street view, we can see this. So here's one of our approaches. Here's our other approach, and we can see these vehicles approaching here are going to look at the signal that the back is facing us. It's only going to be green, yellow, or red there, or amber. And if we switch back over looking at these, we're going to have the same type of situation. We can go from a little bit closer to their perspective. When we look up, we're going to see these signals here, and we just see those green arrows to move ahead. We don't want them to make a right turn and go down the wrong side of the DDI here. We want them to keep going straight and go in that forward only direction as the signs indicate as well. And if we move over here to this other approach to the intersection, we're going to see a very similar thing where we see the two signals, the straight arrows, and the straight only signs. The last one I'm going to review is a reduced conflict intersection. They go by many other names, J-turns, reduced crossing, U-turn. Many other names are out there for these, but the main idea here is that it's a two-phase signal, and it's basically two split in half. There's two-phase signals. There's one on this side, and then there's one over on this side. We'll just focus on one. They both work the same way, just in the opposite direction. So the movements here, we've got a left turn coming off the major street. There's no left turn going on the major street. It's only, or throughs, there's only a right turn off. So we only have two options here for the turns. And then we also have the through and rights coming on the main line. So we are just going to need a two-phase signal here. Essentially what will happen is we'll stop this approach and then allow both of these to go, the rights and the lefts. And this one assigned as no U-turn so that we don't end up with a conflict here. So this, again, a two-phase signal, high volume, high speed, and still just two-phase, and we get a lot of efficiency and signal progression when we have a design like this. This is now zooming in on that street level. So these are let me redraw this here. We got the left turns that are kind of coming at us from that major street, turning left onto the minor street, and then turning off the minor street onto the major street. So those two movements would be one phase. The other phase is going to be here to our left with these vehicles, and that's what we're actually seeing moving in this image here. They're looking here, they've got the green, and so they're going to either do the throughs here or the rights kind of into where the perspective is. So again, these are all examples of two-phase signals where we're going to have, if we have any left turns, they're all going to be permissive left turns, or they're in some configuration or design where we're really trying to figure out how to accommodate that left turn in a non-typical or non-traditional way. In this case, for instance, at the RCI, to take a left turn at the intersection, you have to turn right and then go do a U-turn further down the corridor. And so that's how that movement is later accommodated, but not at the actual signalized intersection.